Welcome to Section 9. My name's Damian Hull, and I'm going to be doing a web test on two web servers. They're both on rackspacecloud.com. They're running Ubuntu 10.04. They both have the LAMP stack, which of course is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, and they both have WordPress installed. And the systems they're running on have 256 megabytes of RAM. And the question I have here is, what's going to happen to these servers when when a lot of people start using the website? Let's say a whole bunch of people show up at the same time, or possibly somebody does a denial of service attack on the server itself. What's going to happen to that web server? Now, the first test I'm going to do is on a system with the default Apache configuration. And then the second test I'm going to do is on a server with modified Apache configuration. So this is the first server that we're going to be accessing here. And it's just a default WordPress install. And you can see that I can click on stuff and it actually works. And let's take a look at the system itself. We'll do free-m, and you can see we have 256 megabytes of RAM. And I'm going to run top here to bring up something that we can actually see in terms of performance. And I want to back out of that. Let's run Jmeter. And Jmeter is used to simulate web traffic to the web server. So I can specify 10 users, I can specify 50 users, I can say I want 200 people. So it's going to simulate that heavy load on the website. And I'm going to put all the details in the show notes because it's kind of tricky to figure out how to make this work. And I only have 10 minutes to do screencasts on YouTube. So I'm going to run through this quickly here. We go to Test Plan, we right-click, we add a thread group. Right-click on Thread Group, and we add a sampler, and I want an HTTP request. We right-click on Thread Group again, and I'm going to add in a listener. I want View Results Tree. Go back up to Thread Group, and here's where we can add in the number of users we want to access the website. So again, we're simulating web traffic. I'm going to start out with 10, and I want to go back to HTTP request, and I need the IP address of the server. Server name or IP, we put in the IP address. Port number, of course, is going to be 80. And path, I just want / because I'm going to be accessing the home page. And let's back out here. I want to save it. And we'll bring our terminal window back. Click on Tree View. And we'll start the test in 1, 2, 3, go. And you can see on top that there's Apache processes happening. And in the background on the Jmeter window, you have a list of HTTP requests that went through. I'm going to back out here. Take a look at the requests. Oops, I don't want to cancel that or close the window. We'll click on one here. And I'm having difficulty actually interpreting the information here. The easy one here is the response code 200 and response message OK. That means that the request went through and it was able to download something. And I can also tell that by the fact that these are all green. And I have up here load and latency. I'm not exactly sure how to interpret this, but I'm going to assume here that if I have high numbers, that means it's taking a long time for the website to load. And the numbers here are in milliseconds, and they're small, so I don't have to worry about that at this point. Back out here. I'm going to go to Run, Clear All, and I want to go back to Thread Group. I'm going to change the number of users here to 100. We're going to hammer the website. Oops, that's 1,000. 100, and we're going to see what happens. I'm going to go back to View Results Tree, bring up our terminal window again. And again, I'm doing this on a server that has the default Apache configuration. So we're going to see what happens when we hammer this thing with 100 visitors all at one time. And we're going to do that in 1, 2, 3, go. And again, you can see Apache 2 requests or processes running in the background on top. And of course, we have, again, HTTP requests in the Jmeter window. And I'm going to back out here. We'll minimize that. And this is something that we need to look at here. I'm going to lock the screen. This says here, the green part means that it's the test is still running. We're doing 100 requests and 42 have happened so far. So that tells me that something's wrong because it's not actually changing anything. I'm going to go to run, stop, and you can see down here we have a bunch of requests in red. That means that they didn't actually make it through, and you can see the data there. And let's see, how much time do we have left to do the screencast? We still have some time left here, so we can actually quickly go over to the website here. Again, this is the website on the server with the default Apache configurations, the one that doesn't work anymore, because if I click on Hello World, you're going to see that this thing just sits and spins. And again, it's not working. Basically what's happened here is the server is now dead. I don't know if you can really claim that it actually crashed, but it's now no longer functional. And so we're going to go back to a different server. We're going to go to this guy here. This is the server with a modified Apache configuration. And you can see that it actually does work. We'll go back to Jmeter. We'll go to run, clear all. Whoops, I need to go back and get the new IP address. We'll copy that. And we'll go to HTTP request. And of course, the only thing I want to change here is the IP address. We'll bring back our terminal window here. I'll go to the new server here, and I'll run top. And again, this is the same setup. And the only difference is that I have a different Apache configuration. And for thread group here, I'm going to leave that at 100. In fact, you know what? I'm going to change that to 150. We're going to hammer it with 150 users. And I'm going to go back to view results in tree. We'll move this over some. Oops. I need to back out. Sometimes Compiz Fusion messes up when you're zoomed in. So we're going to do that and zoom in here. And I'm going to run this in 1, 2, 3, go. And we have HTTP processes happening, or requests happening on the Jmeter window. And you can see that there are a bunch of Apache processes happening in top. And CPU usage isn't actually too bad. RAM usage is kind of high. In fact, I think we've maxed out the RAM. And we have certain Apache processes that are defunct. But the question here is, did we actually complete our test? And you can see up here that it's no longer green, which tells me that it's done. And if I drag through this here, we have nothing in red. And if I go back to the actual website itself, can I actually move around in here? And I can. So this tells me that when I migrate to Section 9, or migrate Section 9 over to rackspace-cloud.com, I need a server that is modified, or the Apache config is modified, because it seems to me that I can actually run on a server with 256 megabytes of RAM, but it must have that modified configuration, because if I leave it with the default configuration and I get a lot of users, it's possible that the server will crash. Now that's a whole lot of users if I get 100 people at the same time, but if I think of things like DOS attacks, things of that nature, somebody could potentially crash my server, and I would then have to go back and fix it. Whereas if I have, again, a modified Apache configuration, I should survive, again, a large number of users at the same time, or potentially a DOS attack. So that's it for now. I am going to write up all the details on the show notes for the website, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them, and thanks for watching.